tape is rolling.
All right. Welcome back. So when we left off last session, the hardy heroes had just, done a few things. Wraith and Mercy managed to procure some supplies. Guess I should grab my notebook, right, and be an actual GM. So I've got it here that I don't know if you guys wrote it down for yourself, but Wraith managed to procure 10 units of gear, and Mercy got 6, and a nomad scarf. So that's an interesting situation going on there.
Which is worth at least another 6 things, I reckon.
Sure. Let's see, and Kalia got the truck, which we now have in view. Kind of a large thing, usually used for hauling cargo, but there was nothing in it when it was loaned to you by Vesper, your contact. And so there's plenty of space back there. It has several jump seats that you can, pull down and sit in. Nothing. It's not, although it might look like one, it's not actually like a camper or anything. So it's not like there's a bed or anything in there or any kind of amenities. But assumingly you could make do with some of the other gear that you picked up.
Yeah.
So when we left off, it was still evening, and you all were not actually going to meet up with Thorn Blackwood until the following evening in front of the gates, the East Gap Gate, if I recall correctly.
I think it was.
That rings a bell.
It was. I wrote it down.
My memory does work. So, is there anything you want to do during the day, or do you want to just jump to that?
I vaguely remember thinking that there was something I wanted to do. Oh, no, I think the only thing I wanted to do was just play with the cube.
Okay.
The artifact.
Sure.
I remember challenging you to get it running.
Is this something that you're going to do? I mean, you all, I think we kind of offhand established last time that you have some kind of a favored bar that the three of you go to, which is where you would have been chilling out, like almost in a private room / private booth type area where you were going over Blackwood's book last time. So I assume you have that, or is this something you want to look at in your own private space with Dippy, assuming you have some kind of like a small, like coffin-sized apartment? Because except for Wraith. Wraith has almost a palatial apartment that he's
luxury, dear boy.
for.
Luxury.
Yeah, luxury.
It's fine. It's like everything is luxury until the bailiffs knock on the door.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I would be under the assumption that we would go back to someplace. I don't actually imagine that Wraith would invite us back to his.
Probably. Well, it's his call.
Do I really want them to find out I live in a cardboard box, though, is the question.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't imagine that we've actually seen where you live. It's just assumed that you live in this fancy place where, you get to live
actually
how,
a really good point.
How you do.
Mother would simply not appreciate it.
But yeah, I think I would probably have some rented some accommodation for a little bit because I'm here to find work and I've just run into these two.
Well, out of the three of you, you actually are the only one I think that has steady work. Like, I would imagine you probably have like if you want one, like a company provided small, like studio apartment sized unit
Yeah.
in the spaceport, where you can be called upon to work on various ships. And I mean, you're a skilled technician, right?
Yeah.
And you can also assist with piloting duties. So you would be in probably more legitimate demand than
Yeah.
either
Well, that's kind of how I
C
see
or
it. Like,
Wraith would be.
for
Wow.
majority of the time, in a better sense of a word, I'm kind of just a delivery person.
Sure, right.
It's just what I'm delivering varies.
You're space DoorDash.
Yeah. But yeah,
And a mechanic to boot.
yeah. So I keep everything. I help out, but then I do deliveries for like a little bit of extra cash and stuff. And that's how I met these two.
So yeah, that's in that
Delinquents.
way. Do you want to look at the cube in your own place, or do you want to do it around them, like in the next day?
I'd do it at my own place.
Okay.
To be honest, I mean, I'm not exactly a horrible person, so if they didn't have anywhere to go, I have a floor.
Oh no, Mercy's got someplace to go. I
Okay.
assume.
It may have. I mean, he might just be.
I'm still bamboozled by
Your call, man. I mean, I assume you all have a place to sleep.
Yeah.
It might not be amazing, but you've got a place.
Yeah.
I have a place to sleep and a reputation.
Right. So if you want to check this thing out on your own, what are you doing with it?
Well, when I tried it because the gist I got from it last time was that it's a lot of tech in a small amount of space.
Well, again, that's your assumption because the scans didn't reveal anything.
Yeah.
According to the scans, it's essentially a rock. What this is, you listened into this last time, right, Max? So you know what we're talking about when we reference the cube?
A little bit.
Okay, so again, this is a small polyhedral of indeterminate number of facets that Blackthorn made spin and levitate, and it started to glow before he grabbed it out of the air again. And I think, if I recall correctly, that I think maybe it was Wraith who was questioning. No, it was Mercy, I think, that questioned whether or not that was like some parlor trick that Blackwood pulled off or not.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why you were going to take a look at it. So,
yeah, well,
because I know you're obsessed with it.
Yes.
For some reason, which is fine.
It's glowy and it does things.
It's glowy, yeah, it does things. So,
and it's
are you going
to look at? Like, what are you?
Sure. So, are you going to try to recreate what Blackwood did with it?
Yeah, essentially, that's it's try and recreate it, and then I'll be good and not try and take it apart, but really like look at it and try and figure it out.
So you put it on, a table in your little apartment, and you spin it the way that he did, and maybe you flick it maybe a little bit harder than Blackwood did, but it starts to rotate very quickly, and it starts to levitate up off the table to about say 2 or 3 feet, which would be about a meter if my conversions are correct, and it starts to glow, and it's starting to glow brighter, and it's starting to glow brighter, and it's starting to pulse. Are you gonna do anything?
Not. It's just essentially try and scan it some more. I think it's just.
Okay.
See how bright it can get.
So, as you're scanning it, first of all, let me ask this. Assuming that, now keep in mind, this Shadowport Nexus is a very large city. Assuming that Kalia's pad is in or close to the spaceport.
Yeah.
Where do you think Wraith and Mercy are residing? Close to the spaceport, further away? What do you think?
It depends where the cardboard box got blown to for Wraith, I think.
Halfway gets blown in the explosion when this thing goes nuclear.
Is the more would the more expensive apartments and things be nearer the spaceport? That's the.
Oh no, they'd be further away actually.
Okay, so we're somewhere we are close. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we see we see the glare from here?
No, what you do see though is what time of day are you doing this? I mean, morning, or are you doing this late last night?
Oh, it would have been before I went to bed, yeah.
Okay, so in the evening, after you all part ways, probably another, I don't know, say hour or so after you part ways, once Wraith and Mercy are settling down, and wherever your character might be, Max, assumingly probably also close to the spaceport. Let's say the late hours, right? So after what would essentially be midnight at this point, there is a massive power outage that seems to be centered around the spaceport. So, Kalia, as you are scanning it with your various devices, and Dippy's getting kind of close to it, and he's got his manipulators, and he's trying to get a read of it as well. It's continuing to glow brighter and pulsing, and then essentially it releases a final just massive pulse, and everything that's powered in your apartment,
including Dippy,
including Dippy, is fried.
Oh no.
And when you look or think to look at any point, you recognize that the power in the entire district has gone down.
Well, yeah, I imagine looking out the window, it's very strange to see it that dark.
Yep.
I would just like to know that none of this is my fault.
But not yet.
And the cube, after it pulses, drops down to the table or whatever you have it above. And for something so small, the way it drops, hits, and just stays exactly where it fell.
Ooh.
It's like it has a kind of density that prevents it from bouncing or staring off to the side, right? Now, would you like to repair Dippy?
Yeah.
In the dark?
Or anything else in your place?
Oh, no,
she's got a flashlight. She's got a flashlight. Click. Oh.
Click.
So anything that wasn't currently powered still works, right? So if you had a hand light, like a torch that you could strap to a glove or something like that, how they do in sci-fi things.
All right. Yeah, so it's like mains power that's gone. Is that the deal?
Or anything that was currently powered.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So anything that was powered up is fried.
Damn it.
Okay. But yeah.
Starships falling out of the sky at the moment.
So
You're like, oh shit. Boom.
Oh no.
So,
yeah, I think
what was the range of this thing?
there's only one way to find out. Do it again. Yeah.
So I will say,
repair Dippy.
just to assuage your worries slightly, I will say that for Wraith and Mercy, it does seem like it's mainly just mains power that's out.
Right. Okay.
Because you're far enough away. But yeah, I'm picturing, just for the dramatic of the scene, that Kalia's place is probably close to power generation in the district.
Oh, okay.
So it was close enough to wipe out the district. So you will hear in the next morning some reports of relatively minor accidents involving speeders and starships that were attempting to lift off, but nothing is horribly damaged.
Ooh.
There's no indication that the pulse was strong enough to knock anything out of the air after a certain radius. So I mean, you're guessing. Actually, why don't you go ahead and make an intellect roll, first roll of the game today, to see if you can kind of look at the reports that you see the next day and think about like where your apartment is to get a sense of what the range on this was.
Okay, so it's 2d6 plus
Intellect.
intellect. So that's plus 2. Am I smart? No.
Okay,
That's
so
just
I
like-
mean, you can let that just fail, or if you want to, you can spend a resolve to re-roll or automatically succeed at a cost. Or you just let it fail. And like, this is not going to be a game-breaking moment, whether or not you know what the range is.
No, I think I'll just let it fail. It's just I know it's happened.
Sure.
But I cannot fathom at this very moment in time why it's happened. Everything's been knocked out, so I can't do any scans or anything. So I'm not gonna know. That's how I'm seeing it.
Now I'm
So I'm
gonna go
happy with
ahead
that.
and I'm gonna let you go ahead and take probably what would be the rest of the evening and then the morning to just repair Dippy without having to make a roll.
Okay.
So Dippy's okay. He's confused. He communicates with you through your link occasionally, so that you get like a text output of what he's saying. And he's very confused as to what happened unless you explain it to him, and then he's like, "Oh, that's not good."
Oh yeah, without
So yeah.
doubt, I'll explain it to him. Like,
Okay.
like I'll tell him what went on. Well, to the best of my ability, I'll be like, it'll literally just be this cube that I'd probably after telling him what happened, give it him. It's like you saw it glowing, and it's just like, but it kind of did an EMP thing, and everything went black. So
Now, I will let you make a tools roll to try to recover information from any of your scans.
Okay.
Dippy, unfortunately, his scanning ability was interrupted and fried due to the pulse.
Yeah.
So he lost more than just that time that he was offline. He lost any readings he had taken. But you might be able to recover something from whatever you were using in your apartment. So I'll let you make a tools roll to try to retrieve some of that information. Meanwhile, are Wraith and Mercy doing anything in the morning? Oh, nice.
I don't know if. I mean, maybe I'd go and meet up with Wraith somewhere as we would normally do, perhaps.
Okay.
The bar.
At the bar. Well,
bar.
none of us have any money to buy any drinks. We just sit in the bar all day.
Well, whose friend is the bartender? Who wants to take responsibility over the bartender?
I'll take responsibility for the bartender because I
Okay,
do
so
spend a lot of my
what's their
time
name?
in here
Or do you
between
want me to generate one?
between cases. His name is Xavier
Oh.
With an X?
with an X. It might not be his real name. No one quite
Sure.
knows.
Is that just what you call him?
That's just what I call him. Whether his name is actually Xavier.
Yeah, I
unimportant.
imagine that he's just given up correcting you.
It could be. But for some reason, he's ingratiated enough to you that, and he owns the place. Like, it's his bar. So it doesn't matter if he's currently working or not. I mean, he doesn't work 24/7, right? But it's understood among the few employees that he has that you and anyone with you has access to this kind of half enclosed kind of back booth, whether you're paying or not. Although he does not let them. He's like, just so that we're all understood. Maybe you've heard him say this to his employees before. Just so that we're all understood, you don't bring them drinks unless they pay. but it's fine if they're just hanging out.
We're hard luck cases.
Yeah.
If you listen, you can just hear the violin music in the background.
And so at this point, I would imagine that they've seen Mercy and Kalia. Maybe not as much of Kalia, considering how you two got on in the first session. But I imagine they've seen enough of Mercy to know that even if Mercy shows up without...
Maybe Mercy has acted as an informal bouncer on occasion.
Oh, okay, sure. To grab a few bucks. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you guys are at the bar. Power came up longer than you would have expected it to take. Normally, when there's kind of a brownout or something like that, it's because of the weather and they get it back up online pretty quickly. But this took several hours. So, even with what little understanding of technology that either of you might have, you're not dumb. You know that means something really bad happened.
Ooh. That
So,
will be
yeah.
the topic of conversation for the morning, I think, between Wraith and Mercy, I think.
You think you're talking about it when or if Kalia shows up with the
truck?
truck?
Well, there's nothing else for us to talk about, really, except maybe the upcoming expedition, which we're probably keeping under wraps. Well, Mercy will be keeping under wraps. I don't know about Wraith. Wraith might be telling everyone for all I know.
Everybody walks past?
Yeah. No, professional decorum, please. Like I didn't mention the fact when I put the arm back on that crime lord.
No.
I mean, I don't talk about things like that at all. Not at all.
Right. When that power went off, that would have been a great time for us to go and get that truck out of that depot. You know what I mean?
Mercy's so ticked. You didn't get to raid a depot.
While the power was off, we could have got more supplies.
I mean, there is that as well. Why didn't we do that?
You got plenty of supplies.
Because you can't do things in the dark.
Well, also the market district is... If you would have thought to do it...
They would have had power.
Yeah, they had power.
They were far enough. Right.
Yep.
That's also a very good reason.
Yeah. I mean, that would have stopped us.
Right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I guess for next session, I'll throw together a map of the city, so that we have a better understanding.
A rough idea of the districts.
Yeah, I can do that.
Cool.
All right, so, when does Kalia show up with the truck? You gonna hang out there most of the day with the boys, or is there anything else you want to do?
I don't think there's anything else I want to do, but obviously if I've spent quite a bit of the night trying to get all my like Dippy back online and get any scans and everything.
Yeah.
It will probably be like mid-morning, closer to lunchtime before I even show.
Sure. Well, based on the roll that you made, the information you can retrieve from the scanner shows that, unsurprisingly, there's a buildup of energy in the moments prior to the pulse. The amount of energy that it was reading doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, though, because we're talking about levels of energy that would be equivalent to, like, a hyperdrive spinning up.
Wow.
And again, in something that size, very, very strange. Possibly unsettling. I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, once I've got all that sorted, I know where they hang out, so I'll go and meet them there.
Okay.
Because we all kind of left. Yeah, because I got the van and went to pick that up, and then the guys went their own way.
Right.
So it's just to catch up where we're at.
Okay. So when Kylie shows up, I guess we kind of explain what we got up to and the equipment that we've managed to procure.
Mm-hmm.
How does Mercy explain how we got the equipment?
He doesn't, I think.
$5 discount, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how
He
it
just
is.
says, "Yeah, I was at this place, and I got these supplies, and this guy gave me this piece of cloth,
Piece of
Make
cloth?
it
and I
nice
show them
duster.
this rag. this what is it? A bandana or something, or was it a
So,
or a,
what
It's a
is
du-
the
it's a
name for
duster.
these things?
Shamag.
like a cummerbund?
Cummerbund.
A shamag is one of those cloths that you wrap around your head and under your chin, like you see.
Is it a shawl? I like
Keffia.
the-
They're
What's
called
the thing?
keffias.
Keffias.
Ah,
Here, let me throw an image in the chat so you can see what I'm talking about here. It should be. Something like that.
Oh.
I own a few of those.
Only,
I never knew what they were called.
yeah.
Oh, I do.
So the pattern of this one is. It's just that you own loads of them. That's funny. So this one is kind of a dark gray with almost luminescent, like silver thread patterning in it.
Ah,
And
I
it's
tell you what.
it's very similar to the one that the vendor, the Nomad vendor, was wearing.
Yeah. So in that case, he doesn't mention it. He's just wearing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you need now is a 10-gallon hat and a cigar.
Yeah. Can be arranged. I think Max's
You
character's
already
got
own
one.
So yeah, he's got a new piece of a very prominent piece of clothing that neither of you have ever seen him wear before.
So yeah, I think once he's explained where he got everything from, I'll try not to look too suspicious that apparently everything was, the way he said. Then yeah, it's just, I think then that's when I would let them know about what I saw. It's like, so last night, after I took the van and everything, I'll get the rock, shall we say, out of Dippy, and just like hold it in my hand and just say, I got it to do that trick last night. It's whatever.
What?
Did Blackwood give it a name, or did he just show it out to bedazzle?
Just showed it to you. He didn't give it a name.
But do you remember how?
So you could just call it the artifact.
Artie. So like, you know how Blackwood got it to float and glow and everything?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I managed to do the exact same thing last night.
Oh, you figured out how he did it.
No, it just did it. So you just spin it, and it does it. But I'm not going to do it because if you don't, I don't fully understand how it happens, because the scans aren't very helpful. But it kind of emitted a very large pulse, and all the electrics, everything electrical, kind of fried. Even poor Dippy.
Oh, wait a minute. That was you?
What do you mean? What was me?
The power went out last night. That was you?
I didn't do anything. Thank you.
Wraith looks up from the article he's reading in the newspaper about lots of people with pacemakers suddenly falling over. I beg your pardon.
Well, I mean, I didn't know what it was gonna do. It was just floating and spinning and glowing, and then all of a sudden, I guess it was too much.
Don't worry, Tony. Don't feel bad. People don't have pacemakers in this universe. They get regenerative surgery, right? Tanks, things like that. So
Yeah.
now people with cyberware,
Yeah. I think
Might
a
be a
Wraith's
different
probably just
issue.
reading the equivalent of like the New York Post
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
and he's holding it in both hands, and he uses his thumbs
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
push over the top and like look over the top at her.
Yeah.
What makes you think I wouldn't cut holes in it?
Always watching. Yeah, I still don't know what it is though. Like the scans don't make sense for an artifact this small.
Well, I guess they're ancient stuff, right? Maybe it's just like technology that we've lost. We don't understand anymore.
No, if we wouldn't have lost this kind of this.
I mean,
high
whoever was here
technology.
before, Blackwood's right. I mean, there must be more of these things about. They're going to be worth a fortune. I mean, you imagine what you could do with one that size. Think what you could do if you could find a bigger one.
If you could find a bigger one, I dread to think what you could do with it. Like I will like lower my tone just in case, and just like these scans are showing like hyperdrive levels of energy in this little thing. Well, that's why I don't understand how it can hold that much energy. It's too much. And if these are bigger ones, imagine how much damage that could do. And that's not a good thing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you could use them as like a some kind of power generator, that'd be. Oh, it'd be better than that cheap. Is it fusion or fission reactors that we're using on this spaceport? I don't know.
Oh,
Base reactors.
probably like it's space reactors. I mean, so the reactors that power the city districts are probably like they're what's the word I'm looking for when something is they're several magnitudes more powerful than say a standard like transport's hyperdrive, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But a hyperdrive is still a lot of power, right?
And it's yeah. I mean, it's a lot bigger than this little polyhedron.
And honestly, Tony, the readings that you picked up would indicate a hyperdrive on the level of something used in like a capital ship and not just like a transport or a starfighter.
Oh wow.
Now, while you guys are talking about that, we're going to cut over to Mac.
I think we should.
Max, you have received an offer for some work. And a person has contacted you about meeting in Shadowport Nexus, which is, for ease of storytelling, we'll say you were already in for whatever reason. And they give you the address of, or rather the locations, because it's no longer really an address, of an area of the city that is currently under construction in the deep tunnels.
Okay.
They've offered you a decent amount of credits, and in fact, they're offering to pay you up front.
How much are they offering?
We'll say they're offering you 2,500 credits.
Ooh, that's his eyes be kind of like like wary for a second and kind of just like, all right, what's the job?
So They declined to talk about the job until you come meet them, saying that it would not be good to discuss such things over an open channel. Do you agree?
It's one of those. It's like, it's he's hesitant for a second, but he's kind of looking at his credit flow right now, and he's thinking I can use this credit. It's like, very well. I will meet you, but where I am exactly am I meeting you down there?
So he gives you the location, and you can get most of the way there with some of the standard transportation in the city, despite the fact that Shadowport is pretty much run by criminal families. There is a pretty reliable public transport option, um, essentially like think a speeder subway, as it were.
Hmm.
Um, and it also kind of traverses in between some of the exterior parts of the city as well that are on the face of the canyon. But at any rate, you can get there, and then you'd have to walk a bit, going into some of the deeper sections. At one point, you're faced with a essentially like a metal. Think like corrugated metal and particle board kind of barrier with a warning on it that says unsafe area, still under construction, no trespassing, right? But the directions that you've been given are telling you to go through that. So
Mm. Yeah,
and some distance beyond.
yeah. So he looks at this and kind of like looks over the message or information he has. He kind of frowns for a second, kind of looks around, like looking side to side, up around the buildings. You never know, like it might be an ambush point for him. And
So
he like,
looking around as you do, I in this portion where you're getting into now, there's really not a lot of presence. You've noticed if you have an eye for such things, and I would say that you do, considering your archetypes. Uh, you've noticed that there has also been a significant drop off in any kind of like surveillance technology, cameras and whatnot. So this is essentially a dark area in terms of communications and surveillance, or appears to be to you.
all
But you
right,
don't see any threats.
all right. So he finds if there's a way to get through. He keeps his hand like very close to his blaster
Yeah,
or
so
pistol.
it's pretty easy for you to kind of find a place to fit your fingers in and just kind of pry one of the boards open wide enough. And in fact, once you find it, it becomes apparent that someone has already passed this way because it does yield fairly easily to your pull and opens almost as uh like a makeshift door, as it were.
Okay. So what is the lighting like? Is it like, is there any kind of like street lights or anything, or is it pretty dark going down,
So
or?
once you get past the barrier, lighting is intermittent at best. The overhead lighting that does exist does flicker from time to time, indicating that power to this section might not be constant or well maintained at this point. And there are stretches where there's no lights at all, except for a few red or green kind of small pinpoints of light that would indicate, some kind of bulbs or indicators of technology of some kind, which is fairly standard for
Okay.
you to see just about anywhere in a modern city.
Um, I would like to do is, since I took my utility belt
Uh huh.
as one of my items, and one of the possible items I might have in there is like a little flashlight, but
Sure.
it's like a little wrist thing. So I stick one on my left hand and
Yep.
kind of just click it on and just use it, just kind of bright through it, and keeping my right hand on my pistol as I'm walking through.
Okay. Yeah. So very easily you light your way, and as you travel further down, eventually you assume at this point, without better reference to the location that you were given, and it does open up into kind of a larger chamber. It looks as if someone might have been living here. There's some kind of a pallet in the corner. There is a currently powered down, but there's a station with several monitors and computing equipment that someone might be using for communications and or research. Other than that, though, it seems to be um, very bare, very Spartan. But as you enter the room, someone kind of almost melts out of the shadows, and they are a tall individual, easily several inches taller than you are, depending upon how tall you would figure your character is. But we'll say that this person is easily, um, say, let's see, what is. So they're easily like 6'5", 6'6", about 2
Okay.
meters.
Okay.
Um, and they're wearing kind of a dark robe kind of thing. They are not wearing any kind of footwear, which is not surprising to you once you notice the person's features and who they are. Um, they are a race of beings that are very lizard-like and have, you know, non-standard feet, as it were, being walking lizards, and so it's uncommon for them to wear footwear, mainly because of just the unlikelihood of being able to find easily prepared footwear for them, and they seem to enjoy not wearing it because you would think they would make it if they wanted to. And I'm basically just stalling for a moment because I forgot to open up one of my other files to tell you the name. Because they're not Celestins, I promise you. They're not Celestins, they're not Transitions, because that is Star Wars, and this is not Star Wars. They
Boom.
are. Uh, Aliens, there we go. They are a race known as the. Ah, that's what it is. Trigorians. Trigorians. So very reptiloid race. This particular Trigorian, although they do vary from person to person, this one has kind of dark mottled grayish black scales. Very, very matte. They're not very reflective or shiny. And it has some scarring on its face and upper chest, from what you can see from where the robes come together. And you can see very easily that he has what appears to be the hilt of a beam sword attached to his belt, which is uncommon, but would indicate some training with said weapon, and it's unlikely that someone with said training is also not some form of mystic or possibly even a Star Knight, which you've heard of, but they're not very common. And he says, thank you for coming. I've been looking for someone to assist me with my mission. And of course, being reptilian, there is a bit of a sibilant hiss to every S that he says. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, he says, so what is the job? He just, his hands like kind of like glowing down so he doesn't shine that light in his eyes of the creature. But he keeps his hands pretty close to his, like pistol, kind of is like, not there, but enough that he can pull it out if he needed to.
Yes, so he says, I am here to retrieve an object of some importance. I've gotten word that its location has been pinpointed. I believe I'm able to track it.
Alright, well, I was told I was going to be paid up front for this help.
Of course. And he tosses you a cred chip.
Alright, he picks it up, he looks at it, stick it in his cred chip, and just, transfer it over and just sticks the empty one in a pocket.
It's like, I assume from what I've heard of those who directed me to you that you have no problem with removing living targets, as it were.
Not really.
Excellent. Says, I know where the one that I seek will be this afternoon. We will ambush him there, and you will help me make sure that I retrieve the object that I seek.
So, is it? Do you know if we're dealing with one, or is there multiple? Like, I'll kind of know what what I'm going against.
In all honesty, the one that we seek is a bumbling fool, but I would not put it past him to have hired help, which is why I called you.
All right. Well, am I sticking with you, or are you gonna send me like a comm signal or something when we're supposed to meet, or what?
I have a speeder nearby. We can travel together if that is all right.
All right, sure. I mean, lead the way. He like motions for him to go ahead.
Okay. So back to our original heroes. At this point, maybe you've had more discussion about the cube and your plans, but it's probably getting on in the early evening, and you still need to fill up the transport with all of the various gear that you've acquired and get to the meeting point at the East Gap Gate with Blackthorn.
Yes.
Blackwood, rather.
So I guess, yeah, I'm going to assist with the loading of the equipment.
We should put the booze in first, because that's important.
If we do that, it's going to be at the bottom of the pile.
Are we going to use one of our units of gear right now to say that we have a case of booze? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's entirely up to Wraith, I think. It may be in character.
No drinking on the job.
Oh,
is that a wing wing nudge?
Yes,
nudge?
standards. Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
now you've got standards.
So it's like no drinking on the job. Mercy.
Wow. Well, I think in that case, I will remove one of the units of gear and say that you have a case of booze.
A case of booze will come in. It'll come in useful.
We're making Molotovs. Yeah. Drowning our sorrows. Yeah, cool. Mercy's loading up the. He's probably loading up the truck with all of his stuff. He's paying no attention to the fact that there's booze there at all. He just, it's Wraith, isn't it?
I'll give a hand. I'll stand there with the clipboard marking off all the things as it goes in.
That's funny. That's exactly how I imagined it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you get everything loaded up, pretty much just in time, as is the case with cinematic movies, to hop in and head over to the East Gap Gate, and your expected meeting with Blackwood.
Yeah.
I
got to ask Kylie we're heading towards the gate. So what happens if something happens to this truck? I'm not saying it will, but
well, it's like this, right? I don't want to find out.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but
Well,
hypothetically speaking,
well,
are you friendly with this person?
hypothetically speaking, yes. Whether they,
Well, whether they're still your friend.
yeah, things change when favors are, broken, or promises are broken, or big truck like delivery trucks lent out as a favor are broken. Things change.
Didn't someone say
I mean,
earlier that
this honestly, this truck is only worth, fully kitted out and new, probably 50 grand on the market. So it's not like
what
this
you're
is the
saying
most
is
expensive thing ever.
no, it's not the most
wasn't-
expensive thing ever, but we'll probably be
But we're broke.
working for the rest of our lives to pay it off.
Wasn't it? Didn't somebody mention earlier that
Depends
the
on what you
person
find
wearing
out
the
there.
truck wouldn't mind if we made modifications to it? Bullet holes are just modifications.
His
His words
so
it's no damage.
Then-
Vespers were it was not no damage, was that it works.
Oh,
It's
it
already
comes
got-
back intact.
it's already
yeah.
got
It doesn't have to
damage.
come back intact. It just as
Think-
long as
think-
it's
think about
mobile.
It
Bullet hole.
doesn't have to look the same. Like he said, as long as you can repair it and it's mobile and it works when you return it to me, because this thing has been repaired many times. Like
Oh.
the blue book on this is not 50K anymore. It's
Yeah.
it's used.
I mean, we probably could have got a bigger one from the depot. I'm just saying.
I'm sure you could have, Mercy. I have no doubt. But I
Why
think
didn't
this
we
way is
make a
better.
move when the power mysteriously went out last night?
Wait, you're asking me now?
Well, no, we talked about it earlier. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
So you guys get to the East Gap Gate, and look around, and you don't see Blackthorn or Blackwood anywhere.
Oh.
So I guess you just gotta kind of wait.
Yeah.
Um,
Look casual. Just hanging around by the gate in a big truck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're
mean,
not the only vehicle.
I know. That would make
there
sense.
are vehicles going through
Yeah.
both directions. The weather is kind of picking up, and there's an advisory that they might have to close the gates and the shield later on in the evening, but there's still time.
Oh.
And then after a time, you see Blackwood show up and kind of looking around. Are you guys in the truck or?
No, I'll be leaning on the looking
I
board.
think we'd have found somewhere comfortable to sit.
Yeah.
I'd be in the truck.
Gonna run somebody over.
No.
Actually, I need a new Blackwood first. There. Alright, now we'll lock it again. Okay. So, are you and Dippy in the truck? Tony?
I'd be in the truck. I mean, Dippy probably, but I mean, he'll just be, I don't know, doing what robots do on the board.
We'll just assume he's usually with you.
Yeah. Like,
So,
like,
you
like I
guys
said
are
before, I
in
generally
the
just
truck.
treat him like a dog. If I don't tell him
Right.
what to do, I just let him roam, do what he
So,
does.
is Blackwood? Does he have any equipment with him or anything, or is it just him?
The only thing you can see as he walks up is, being kind of attuned to such things as Mercy would be. You do see his coat kind of whip back a little bit in some of the wind, and you see what's clearly why did my brain just stop working?
Blaster, a gun, of some
Yeah,
kind, or
but it's a specific kind of blaster. It's a Imperium blaster.
Oh, is this
It kind of blaster
unusual.
like an Imperium officer would carry.
So does that mean that he's a rich guy or just?
It could mean it could give some truth to his rumored wealth.
Yeah.
Because it is, I mean, buying from the same people that also provide to the Imperium might kind of make you stand out and be more expensive. Or it could mean he has ties to the Imperium. You don't see a lot of people in Shadowport walking around with Imperium weaponry.
No, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll step away from the vehicle. Just throw your stuff in the back.
Oh, he's like, oh, yes, I'm quite ready to go.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot a glance at Wraith. They kind of.
Wraith rolls his eyes in return.
What's with this guy?
So, he's like, if you're ready, we can leave. I'm sorry, I have all the equipment I need on me.
Oh. So the map, right?
Oh well, and he taps his head.
Oh.
That's well accounted for.
Okay. Then I will open the door to the vehicle and do a little flourish to gesture him inside.
Okay. So Kaylee is in the truck, so you're not going to get a roll for this, but why don't we get an instinct roll from Mercy and Wraith?
Ooh.
Instinct.
Yep.
That'll be 14.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Not bad. Michael's at his 11.
Nice.
Oh, no, 12.
Okay, so you both see out of the corner of your eye the best way to describe this is you see like a spinning light coming at you from what looks to be, as you look in that direction, drawn by the spinning light, a speeder that's coming up very quickly. And this spinning light flies past you, and as it does, as it gets closer, you can hear this kind of hum as it flies through the air past you and actually hits one of the rear stabilizers of the truck.
Oh.
And maybe Mercy, possibly Wraith, but maybe Mercy kind of flinches in expectation of some kind of explosion. But when you look back over your shoulder, what you see is that this spinning light has hit the rear stabilizer and cut through it. And then almost abruptly, like, starts to change direction and fly back towards the speeder.
Oh.
Which is now closing on your position very, very rapidly.
Are we able to see or identify who is in the speeder?
You can, as the speeder rockets in very quickly. I'll give you a chance to think about positioning, as it were. But as the speeder rockets in, you see very quickly two figures jump out of it.
Oh no.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh god, it's a not Sith.
Okay, and I'm just gonna shout, "Time to go!" And I draw my gun, and I maybe I'll return fire. I'm assuming that they've used some kind of weapon on us, right?
So you can see as the cloaked figure jumps out of the speeder, that he pulls something from his waist, and you hear this snap hiss as these two plasma blades extend from this weapon that he's holding, and you've heard of beam swords.
Yes. So I'm not going to
Yes.
do that. I'm just shouting, "Time to go!" And we're running and I'm trying to help push Wraith ahead of me to try and get into the truck.
Tony, as you're in the cockpit of the truck,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, it's not like it's totally enclosed, but there is kind of a partition between the cockpit and the rear compartment. But you're suddenly getting all of these warning lights that the engine is damaged, and I don't know if you had it running, but if you did, it shuts off.
We're not going anywhere.
Now, I think I probably, if I'd have seen Blackwood out of the window, I would have only just started like the startup sequence and everything. So, but yeah.
So yeah, you're now getting warnings that it's offline. The anti-grav underneath the truck are still functioning, but the propulsion system has gone offline.
Quick push.
So with the alarms going off, the first thing I shout is, Dippy, check it out.
Okay, so
and then I'll
Dippy runs back to the back.
Yeah.
And you can see these two figures jump out of a speeder that is just screeched up in front of the truck. And you see someone who looks like some kind of a gunslinger, you would assume, based on their attire. And they can't be like a Star Knight. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so Mercy, Mark, you said you were going to shoot. Are you still going to do that? Or are you done? Are you out?
I'm thinking opening fire like that would probably be a little bit, probably a bit much, right? Perhaps
well, they did just attack your vehicle.
They did.
Well, at least that's your assumption. You saw the spinning red light fly from the speeder, hit your speeder, fly back to their speeder.
Okay.
Mercy, old chap. Someone's just clobbered our ride with a space boomerang.
Yeah. So all right. I put it like that. I think Mercy's going to return fire.
Okay. So since you did call it out first, we're going to let you take the first shot.
Okay.
And then we will go over to the other side where I will let Max act first.
Okay. So I'm probably aiming at the guy with
Blackwood
the sword.
is still kind of in front of you. He's not going to interrupt your fire at all, but he has kind of no idea what's going on behind him.
Okay. In that case, can I might need to rush forward and do the bodyguard bit, right? And position myself.
Yeah, I'll let you position yourself kind of in front of him, but you can still get your shot off.
Yeah, okay. And then I'll be shouting to run to the vehicle as well. And I'll take a shot at the guy with the sword. I don't know. You see, I don't want to shoot at Max.
Why not? Has a gun drawn. I assume. Do you have your gun drawn, Max?
Oh no!
You jump out of the speeder.
I got that quick draw. No, he just sitting there, just kind of like. His hands like kind of like he's got the showdown kind of look at the guy, and he sees Mercy walking up, and he kind of like gives like that like kind of smirk, and his brim's down a little bit, and he can see him walking up with his guns kind of like that, and he's like.
So you can tell, Max, looking at this gentleman who has just run forward to step in front of this kind of older gentleman, that he's got. You already drew your guns, right?
Yeah.
So he's got slug throwers. He's got like revolver slug throwers, which is pretty archaic, but they are chunky. They're big. So although they're not blasters, they can do a lot of damage. Okay, so your gun's not out. So Max has not pulled his weapon. The only person with a weapon drawn is this cloaked figure.
Yeah, so he will be the one I'll be taking the shot. I mean, I can imagine that Mercy has got both guns ready, and he will be pointing one in Max's direction and one at this guy, but he'll shoot the knight like with the
Okay.
sword. If that's
Yeah,
all right.
Okay, yeah. So you're at longer range than is great for pistols. So you're
Okay.
going to have a penalty there, and you're also going to have a penalty for other reasons that I will not divulge to you.
Okay. So I'm rolling 0 dice. No, I'm
Well,
rolling 2 dice with
No,
2.
hang on. Do you
Go
have
on.
any bonuses that would apply?
I've only got my gunslinger talent, which I automatically defeat 1
Unfortunately,
minion, which is not going to
yeah,
help here, I don't think.
fortunately, in this situation, there's no minions.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much else.
So you're gonna roll 4 dice, and you're
And
gonna
take
take the
the
2
2
lowest.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, that's still
Which
not
will give me
awful.
a
So
6 plus a 3, which is a 9.
Oh,
that's a hit, man.
Oh.
Okay,
nice.
gonna make me actually track this guy's hits.
So
Yeah.
like my guy will
Aim is
look
a
over
wingin'.
to the cloak figure and kind of like give him the look. It's like who he has to take care of.
So, um, you're just firing one gun at him. Is that what you
yeah,
said?
because I wanted to keep the other one pointing
Yeah.
at the gunslinger, because basically as a
The
warning, like,
hatted person. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you fire which one? Your right or your left? Do they have
My
names?
right.
Your slug throwers?
I haven't given them names yet, but maybe I will.
Okay, all right.
Throw one.
So you fire the right slug thrower
Yeah.
at the person wielding the beam sword,
Yeah.
and you can see them kind of whip the beam sword in front of themselves, almost instinctually, and it seems almost as like maybe they catch like the edge of the slug that you fired at them, but it still continues through, and you can see it strike their shoulder and push them back a little bit.
Ooh.
So
Winged
you
him.
know that you've hit them.
Yeah.
Okay, Max, your turn.
Oh, like as he's he just kind of like walked in this looking at a gun. And he kind of like he just smirks a little bit and he kind of looks at the his like I guess employer, his client, and kind of looks at him, gets a look at the guy with the 2 like slug throwers and like, and kind of
So
looks at him.
he kind of growls out of the side of his mouth. His eyes are locked on Mercy, but he kind of growls, "Kill them all except the old one."
All right, so he's like he says he says like hey he just says look, he looks at y'all, it's like sorry, this is no nothing against y'all, but I get paid to do what I got to do. What I want to do is I want to charge Mercy and basically have my elbow out and my gun pointed up his head and take a shot.
Okay, so you can move roughly to here.
Okay.
Essentially, well, here I'll show the range bands again. I wanted to redo the titles on them because it's not always going to be that. But essentially, each one of these is a range band. You can move
Okay.
1 range band to get closer to them, and that'll put you within range of your pistols to not take any penalties if you move
Okay.
ahead 1.
All right. Well,
That also puts you in range of Mercy's pistols. But,
yeah. But it's like, I do have my other talents that if I do even go
do?
melee with them, I can still shoot.
So yeah, if you want to move up to this range band and take a shot, you certainly can.
All right. So he moves right about here, and
Yep.
as he does, he's kind of like has his elbow out. He flicks his pistol out and takes a shot, and he doesn't like moves at his head, but he kind of moves like, and thinks for a second and takes a shot at his shoulder, so you can make him drop his weapon.
Okay.
All right.
So here's how PvP works in Black Star. you're both going to roll. But Mark, you're defending, so you're going to be rolling your speed,
Okay.
and Max, you're going to roll your blasting.
Okay.
Okay.
So and that's
So it's 2d6
okay.
If I had
plus
a turn,
whatever your blasting is.
if I had a turn, I'd throw a shield out.
That would be 9 for me.
9.
And that's a 9 for me too.
Okay, so as you are both tied, you have an option, or no, actually you don't, because you're tied. So why don't you two go ahead and describe, Max, you describe your shot, and then Mercy describe how you avoided it.
As he does, it's like, you see Max he just runs up pretty fast, and he has his shoulder out right there. It's like he kind of looks like he's like maybe used as a distraction. He pulls his pistol out, spins in his finger, and lightly tilts it and takes a shot at Mercy's left shoulder. And it's just like, he doesn't want to kill him, but it's like, if he can incapacitate him, that'd be better, because it's like, yeah. So
Okay. So with regard to that, then maybe Mercy sees this guy coming forward to shoot. He might even consider that he's going for Blackwood, and so he actually spins to try and knock Blackwood out of the way, and in doing so, he actually dodges the bullet himself, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, and Blackwood stumbles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. He uses his arm to kind of like move it.
Yeah. Swing his arm. Yeah.
Okay. So back to the. Well, I don't want to say the hero's side, because technically a hero is on the other side, but the original heroes. It's your turn, Wraith or Kaylee. Kylie. I keep wanting to say Kaylee because it's a Firefly. Who wants to go next?
If I can go first, I will run forward, grab hold of Blackwood, and start pulling him towards the truck if he's not going to move himself.
Okay. Keep in mind that the next action, and this is where some of the strategy comes in play, the next action will be mine with the dark figure. So, not saying that that's not a bad play, but it's up to you
by
guys.
some strange quirk of fate, I am keeping Blackwood between myself and the dark figure, almost uncannily.
Is that what you're honestly gonna do?
God, yes. The idea was to grab him and drag him behind me.
Okay.
So I'm not pushing him in front of me. So I have actually got him between him and the black guy and the bad guys.
So
this is premeditated.
He's not gonna resist you. So you can do that as a part of your move. He's still kind of very discombobulated. He doesn't know what's happening.
I'm going to drag him up to the cargo door that, as far as we know, is still open, and I am literally going to boot his ass in there.
Okay. Yeah, if you're going to do that much, then I'll say you don't get to make an attack of any kind. So yeah, okay. All right, that's your action. The cargo door is about here, so you'd move forward one range band. Yep, you can do yourself and grab Blackwood and then toss him inside. Okay. Oh, but you're still in that range band though, so move yourself up.
Yeah, no problem.
You had to throw him in. Okay. So, the dark figure is going to... Yeah, he's not playing around. First of all, you hear behind you, stop trying to be flashy about it, kill them.
What's all the fun in that?
As once again, now it makes a lot more sense, and I'm sure you already knew what was happening. The figure throws his beam sword.
Ooh.
And it spins towards Mercy. Mercy is going to need to make a speed check.
Oh no.
No penalties.
Damned space Australians
with penalties.
No penalties.
Oh, no
Wizards.
penalties. Okay.
Straight up attack.
Oh god.
Space Wizards.
Oh wait, you know what? You're in this range category, aren't you?
Yes, I'm right here. I think. I
Oh,
mean,
okay,
my
so-
toe is just over
no,
into
no.
that melee. But
No, so he hasn't. No, I'm gonna say you're in short. So he hasn't moved yet. So that's long range. So actually, you get a bonus die because of the range.
oh, okay.
Oh, you rolled a 10, so
Yeah, I can say,
Yeah,
can
I
he still
mean-
have the 10 he rolled? Or does
Okay,
he have
I
to-
mean,
Oh,
you
it's the
take
same. It's the same anyway. It's the
okay,
4. It's a 6 and a
fair
4.
enough.
So it's a 13
So-
total.
The beam sword. How do you dodge it?
I think he probably drops to his knees as the beam sword swings. Comes arcing over his head. I think he kind of
Okay, so
drops down
again,
to his knee.
That familiar red disc and hum flies over
Uh-oh.
and out past you, and not necessarily towards the good doctor. So don't sweat it, Flea. But after he throws it, he leaps into the air, moves forward a range band, and he unleashes a torrent of energy at Wraith. So
Oh.
Wraith, he extends his hand as he's flying through the air, and these just arcs of maybe electric, maybe some other kind of power lance out from his hand to strike at Wraith. So Wraith, you're either going to use speed to defend, or don't forget your shield. So he's using assault against you. You can use
I
shield.
have to shield it. Can I somehow angle the shield so instead of looking like he's aiming directly at me, just misses and hits the truck? Which I'm
You
guessing
can.
will
Yeah, I'll
ground
let you
it.
try and do that. Why don't you?
Oh, I have one more question. Does he shout
Yep.
unlimited power while he does this?
unlimited power.
No, he doesn't. That's funny though.
Oh,
If you, so I don't think anybody's really looking at you aside from him, right?
No, I
But
I'm looking at Mercy.
right. So if you want to try and be sneaky about how you do it, I'm gonna let you make a diplomacy check. But I'm also gonna give you a penalty die because he is also a mystic.
in that case, if no one's looking at me, I won't bother.
Okay.
I'll just defend
So
it.
all right. So you're gonna spend 1 will, right?
Yep.
And that lets you roll your discipline to defend against the assault.
Right, okay. Don't put my character sheet in front of the dice.
Boom,
Double
look at
sixes,
that.
nice.
15,
Look at
ladies and
that.
gentlemen.
He crit success.
So
Can I bounce it back at him with that by any chance?
no, but I'm gonna
Damn.
do a little bit different. So his assault hits your shield, right? And you can see his eyes go wide when he realizes what you are. But because you rolled the double 6, not only does his assault hit your shield, as it strikes, you close your fist and draw the energy from his assault through your shield into yourself and regain your point of will that you just
Oh.
spent.
Thank you very much.
That's cool.
Nice.
Okay,
That's very cool.
that leaves Kylia.
Oh,
And then he lands and his beam saber flies back in and he catches it. So now Kylia. Dippy starts working on the engines. He is not going to complete it this action.
I'm sorry, that whole sentence just sounds funny. Dippy. I love that.
Dippy!
I love that I just named him Dippy. It's just so stupid. So I think because there's genuinely nothing I can do inside. I think. Because I would know, I would trust Dippy's abilities. I mean, I don't know the full extent of the engine, but
Yeah.
I would believe have a rough time frame of how long it usually takes him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is something that is going to take longer than combat rounds.
Yeah. So So I think the more pressing issue is to try and help defend than try and fix
Okay.
the vehicle at the minute. So I think if I can, I want to get to the door, shove Blackwood somewhere out of the way.
Sure. I have changed my mind. There is a defensive auto turret on the top of the truck if you would like to use that.
Oh my
I honestly thought it was just like a really,
Yay!
really fancy
Yeah, it's like, I'm
antenna.
gonna be
Oh my god!
beginning to get
No
that.
wonder,
Sure.
wonder I
No.
couldn't get the local radio station through it. Ah!
If there's any kind of weaponry on the vehicle, then I would use that.
Okay. So that is still going to use the blasting skill, though.
Yeah.
But as you are a pilot, I will let you use that.
Okay, blasting. That's at the top.
Who are you shooting at? The guy with the pulse pistol or the guy with the beam saber?
The guy chucking fucking big red
Power
things.
around? Unlimited power?
Yeah, I like even me kind of looking at the other guy, kind of like looking. It's like, is this? I was like, hopefully this is a good idea.
Oh yeah, fighter.
Ooh, nice.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
So you power up the turret and it's like and like it zooms in on him and fires a quick burst. This is essentially like a vehicle level weapon, which is significantly more powerful and generally not used against people.
Yeah.
But you fire it at him and he holds his beam saber out in front of himself and like starts twirling it with both hands, right? Just creating an almost like shield in front of him with how quickly he's whipping this thing around. However, the quick burst from the autocannon hits so hard it pushes him back, and you can see like in the dirt and the grit of the ground, you can see these streaks that his feet leave as he's pushed forcibly backwards. And he is hit, so yeah, he takes some damage. Okay. Max.
So he's looking at the laser sword and lizard. He's kind of
Who just got hit by a vehicle weapon, we should point out, and is still standing.
Yeah, but what he's thinking of doing is, so if the ship is facing this way, he wants to do is get behind it so he can use it as cover
and not be targeted by the cannon.
Yeah, so he's literally on the cannon, and he turn around, he can stick his arm around it, take a pot shot or something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can move yourself up to that corner. I'll understand that you're behind it. You won't actually be because of the way layers work in Owlbear, but I understand what you're doing. Okay.
So he
that'll still give you a shot on Mercy if you want, but not on Wraith.
Oh yeah, no, it's understandable. It's like, he's gonna take another shot at Mercy, and he's still like, I'm gonna go for a Nino.
Okay.
So he's gonna take a shot again.
So same thing for you two. Blasting versus speed.
Oh man.
Yeah, 2 dice.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna hit.
I mean, we'll see how Mercy does.
What's that? That'll be a total 6 right there.
Or
yeah, I don't think that's gonna hit.
So yeah, Mercy is completely fine. Like with that roll, we'll say even the shot goes into the ground, kind of close to Mercy's feet, but not really anything to be dangerous. Cool. So that is, unless, however, let's back up. Unless you want to spend resolve, But
Oh no, he's fine where it is.
okay,
It's
fair
just-
enough.
Yeah, he's like he's not trying to right there, and he's not stupid, but
Actually, no,
Yes.
you wouldn't even be able to spend resolve because he was more than he was 3 higher than your roll, more than 3 higher, much
Oh, yeah.
more than 3 higher. So yeah. So yeah, back over to the original heroes. You guys are at the top, so you can go whatever order you want.
OG heroes.
Yeah, who wants to go first? Any preference?
I mean,
Big gun.
for
He's
me,
like,
I
Yeah.
think
I want to kill Ozzy.
Maybe the big gun.
I like the idea of the whole retaliation thing. So if Mercy wanted to retaliate after just getting attempted shot at, then I'm fine with you going first.
I mean, no, I think because he's just been shot at, I think what I would like Mercy to do is step back and take cover on the other side of the truck.
Okay.
And then
So, tink, tink.
yeah,
I can just imagine you've dropped to you dropped to your knees to get out of the other guy's way, and then the guy just moved up to try and shoot your knee.
Yeah, this is like I'm in a crossfire here. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. So he will step back. I mean, that makes the range pretty difficult, I think, to hit this.
Oh
our
yeah, it
friend
well,
over here, isn't it?
well, I mean, you'll be at a penalty
Yeah.
because you're at long range. So
I can if I fire both guns.
Yep.
Does that give me another penalty?
no, it's assumed that you normally fire both guns.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So
I'll
it doesn't
fire
give you
both.
any additional damage either. It's just you fire. You have 2 guns. You fire them.
Okay. So that's what I'll be doing then. I'll be shooting. I'll empty him, but while firing both guns at that guy while taking cover from
Okay.
the guy in the hat that's taking a shot at me.
Yeah. So again, you're at 2 penalty dice.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Because he just got hit by vehicle fire that pushed him back, I'm gonna say he's a little off balance. Only at 1 penalty die.
Okay.
Yeah, he got like shotgun in the face. It's like, yeah.
25mm Bushmaster for the win.
Ooh.
That's a 10.
So yeah, you still hit. All right, solid hit. Why don't you
Cool.
tell me how you hit him? He's not
Um.
down or anything, but he's not able to get his saber in place.
Okay. So I
I'm
guess
just gonna call it a beam saber. It sounds better.
beam saber. So he's
Sword.
just perhaps as he got hit, it's kind of knocked him. His arms kind of went out to the side with the beam saber in it, and Mercy sees his chance, tries to put 2 bullets in the guy's chest, and that's where we're aiming for. So he's trying to take him down effectively. I know it'd be nice to shoot him in the head, but
and
but
they
no.
strike, but maybe he's wearing some type of armor, or maybe he's otherwise protected.
Yeah.
At this point, even from the distance you're at, I mean, you can tell that this is what did I say their name was? A Trigornian.
Yep.
So they're known for being pretty resilient.
Okay.
So it's difficult to tell, especially with his dark clothing, whether or not you've injured him. But he does, kind of rock, registering the hit.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to shout something out as well, but basically something along the lines of, "Hey, why don't we call a truce and talk about this?" I suppose I'm talking to the guy in the hat at this point. The other one's probably too far away.
So, okay. I'll let Max respond on his own when it's his turn.
So
But
it's like,
there-
he's looking at you and looking at him. It's like, well, it depends. Do you think you can kill that thing?
Okay, we'll hold on to that. So the Trigornian hears this, and he looks at Max, and then he looks at Mercy, and he says, "There is no truce." And throws. So yeah, sorry, Max, you said it. So first thing I'm gonna do, just so that we all know who's where now, we're gonna turn you around so that you are a good guy.
You're now one of the OGs.
Yeah, you're not one of the OGs.
No, we're
After
the OGs.
hearing you
He's
say
the
that,
second
he's
generation.
gonna throw his beam saber at you.
Like,
Oh.
So you're gonna need to make a speed roll
Ooh.
to defend
Okay.
against the beam saber. No penalty, no bonus. You're not in cover from where he
Oh,
is,
nice.
not from a beam
alright,
saber.
so that would be 6, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, so how are you gonna dodge this thing flying through the air at you?
So as you see in that one, he's like, fuck. So he basically is being acrobatic as he is. He kind of like flips backwards and uses the ship as a deflection and backs a little farther back in the ship. So he has like more cover. So he backs
So-
up like,
Yeah, and
Like,
very
right
much
about
so.
there.
So this whirling beam saber flies towards you. You manage to just kind of step back and get out of the way of it, but it does cut out a swath from the front of the speeder as it flies past and starts its arc to return to him.
It's okay. It's still drivable.
I call that a modification. It's fine.
As
Ventilation hole. No problem.
and then he moves forward, and he's rushing forward to get
Uh-oh.
right up underneath where the
the cannon
turret
is.
would be able to hit him.
Ooh.
Oof.
So those are his actions. Now we go over to the OG side, the heroes side, which now Max is a part of, I'm assuming,
yeah,
if
he's
you've
like,
now said that. I mean, he's already been paid, so,
Yeah.
you know. So who's going to go? We got Max, Wraith, or no,
I've
Max
gone like
took a shot this
25.
round. So Max, your action is used already this round when you were on the other side. So we've got Wraith or Kylia.
Oh dear. That beam sword is
You can't target him with that turret for Kylia.
Yeah.
What was your question?
that beam sword
Lee?
counts as energy, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
My shield defends me and can defend me and others from energy.
If you spend enough will, yeah, it
If
can.
I spend enough will, I've got to be in front of the person, so I'm going to move
Yes,
myself.
you do.
So I am just slightly in front of Mercy, and then I'm going to throw
Ooh.
a shield up in front of both of us.
Well, that's quite strange. Well, the shield is reactive when he attacks, so. But yeah, that's I don't know what Mercy. How does Mercy feel about that, Mark? Wraith has stepped in front of you almost to protect you.
Yeah, and it's
No,
like, what the hell are you doing?
You only has to be behind me. It doesn't say it has to be behind or more of me. I've stepped up and I've pushed my hand in front of us.
Yeah.
Right.
That's part of me. That's part of me. It is in
No,
front
that,
of me.
it's good. I like it. I like it. But
Unfortunately,
Mercy
now
will be-
since there's nobody else on my side, I get to go with him again.
Oh,
So
Boo.
Oh.
now
No.
that he is within melee range, he's actually going to put his foot right over so he can attack.
I'm gonna just
And
put my two-
yeah, he's going to swipe at. Well, he's going to go for Mercy, who's the only one who's actually hurt him. But since Flea, you've said you're going to take that position, you can go ahead and defend. With you got to spend it's 2 will
Yeah,
to
two.
protect others,
I'm
right?
spending 2 will to throw a shield out.
Okay. Boy, this is not going to be something you're going to be able to hide from Mercy. But go ahead and go ahead and make that discipline roll.
Keep putting my character sheet in front of the dice thing. Watch this. I'm gonna muller this dice roll. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Nope, you did it. So
Wait, target bonuses.
what's that?
So I was just rereading it to yeah. Unfortunately, that also costs me my next action.
It
So
does,
I'm
yes.
stuck there for 1 turn now.
Uh-oh.
So why don't you explain how you've just deflected this strike with an energy blade with your bare hand.
I'm trying to make it look as if Crocodile Sid here is just really, really bad with his blade. There's no way I could kind of make it flicker, is there?
Yeah, because he's kind of demonstrated so far that he's really bad with that thing, right?
he's kind of like, yeah, he's kind of like he can't catch bullets with it.
True.
The best thing about when he throws it is it comes back, but then he can do that with a bent stick. I mean it's like he's like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might have some explanation to do to Mercy if he decides to question you when this is over, because you stretch out your open palm to protect you and Mercy, and yeah, this blade
In that case, as
kind of bounces off of it.
As the Trigonian spins his blade around and brings it down over his head towards Mercy, it contacts with something that no one can see in a cloud of red sparks.
Yep.
The recoil of which forces the Trigonian to take half a step backwards with a look of surprise on his face.
Yep.
Ooh, I'll bet.
And then he attacks again. Only this time he attacks you, Wraith. So you can spend another will to protect yourself again, or you can rely on your speed. Because it is reflexive for you to protect yourself.
Will I get my will back in the break between this and the next session?
Well, I tell you what, let me see if I can
your
help
will
you.
your will returns after a night's sleep, unlike your resolve. So your will returns daily.
In that case, I will use shield because my discipline is 3, my speed is only 2.
In that case, can I use my bodyguard talent here and skip my next turn to take an attack meant for somebody else next to me?
Ooh, I skip this next turn anyway.
Yeah, but
I mean, you can.
I'll skip my turn, but if you skip your next turn, then we're just going to stand here and wave at him.
Well, I'm hoping that somebody else might do something.
Right.
Because, very
still
capable people.
Yeah.
We still have very capable people. I'm just thinking it might be the kind of thing Mercy would do. He is, you're his friend, and he's going to reciprocate whatever you just did, you weirdo.
Well, why don't we wait to see if Mercy needs to, right? Mercy can do that if somebody fails on their defensive.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, I thought I had to declare it first.
No.
Wraith being Wraith will throw up a shield while vehemently questioning the legality of this person's birth.
Okay.
Out loud.
using language that nobody's ever heard him use before in a really coarse, really strong accent.
Yeah.
Right.
Just gonna right.
Yep.
This is where the dice gods abandon me.
Nah, you're gonna be fine. You're a hero. Oh wow.
Oh.
10.
You got a 6.
10.
That's good.
10's the thing.
10's good.
Yeah, that's great.
What does it mean to
So
roll?
yeah,
9 or more?
again. Yeah, 9. So again, this figure sweeps their beam saber around to strike at Wraith this time. And Wraith holds up his hand again, and you see that same shower of sparks.
Ooh.
So that's back over to you guys. So it's either Kylia or Max. Nope, Max is still out. It's Kylia for this round. Yep. You can't target him with a gun. I will let you, if you want, I will let you move to the door of the vehicle, which is still open.
Yeah.
And that's essentially moving one range band, so you will still be able to kind of lean out and take a shot if you wanted to.
Yeah, well that's what I was thinking. It's like I can't get a shot on him on that, so it's just lean out the door to shoot him with pulse pistol. So that's blasting.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
7 plus.
No, it's a 7. I already included the
Oh.
plus.
Oh, okay.
So, do you want to spend resolve to make that a hit with a complication, or do you want to spend resolve to roll again?
Ooh.
How
The
is it you get resolved?
worst the complication would be is in my head.
Resolve
I
only
mean,
returns.
it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Technically, its resolve returns at the end of an adventure. I'm
Not a
ruling it
session.
more at the end of a session, right?
Right.
So you start, unless you're in the middle of like a cliffhanger,
Yeah.
you'll start
Yeah.
each session with your full resolve.
Okay. Yeah, we'll spend resolve. I think I'll make it a hit and take the.
Okay.
Think happens.
Unsequenced.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you fire at him, and you do hit him. However, as a complication, what will we say as a complication? Okay, I like that. So the blaster bolt hits, but then also ricochets off of something under his robe, possibly again that armor we were talking about, and ricochets into the vehicle itself, dealing more damage to the truck.
Okay.
Still drivable.
It is, for now. But yeah, you do manage to hit him. Okay, that brings us to a new
sorry,
round.
Sorry
And-
about describing your character.
It is his turn again. So let's see, with where he's at and what you've done to him, he
He's pissed.
Runs away.
so
I'd
he
just like
does.
to know
He
I haven't actually done anything to him.
you've basically shown that you're a force to be reckoned with.
I haven't
So
hurt him-
he
haven't hurt him
turns
a single bit.
Oh, but you're
and runs and hops into his speeder and looks poignantly at Max, just shooting daggers with his eyes
So,
as he powers it up and drives off. I will let you take shots at him as he retreats. Anybody who with a ranged weapon who wants to take a shot at him.
I have a quick question though. It's like with my utility belt, could I have like an explosive on myself that I could left on his speeder?
No, not an explosive, sadly. No.
I know.
That requires
requires
talent.
a talent, yeah.
Yeah.
Is what's
Good thought. Good thought.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, you about to betray me?
You betrayed him first. He already paid you.
I see it.
Well, he asked the question. He wasn't so much a betrayal. It was a question, wasn't it?
All right. So yeah, anybody with ranged weapons want to take a shot at him as he retreats?
I'm go for it. One more.
Well,
Yeah,
in his
well,
You gotta
vehicle,
be cleaning
anyway.
up here.
Yeah.
You got this big old thing right
Blasting
there.
of one and a gun the size of a matchbox. I don't think I'll bother.
Noisy cricket.
That is a really tiny gun, though. Look at the size of your gun compared to Mercy's.
Well, I'm holding a gun.
If you zoom in, yeah, you are.
Yeah, look, yeah. It's like a Derringer, that is.
No,
He's got a holdout.
45, but it's like big. Like it's like it's a. I don't know. It's huge. Probably it's like
But I was
probably it's
but,
like
yeah,
50 cal bullets or something.
Yeah.
that's not a gun. That is not a gun. That is a really, really cheap looking ornate ring that I'm going to totally blame on my amazing powers, saying it's got a shield generator in it.
So I rolled
What was the total?
11.
11. Okay, so yeah, you managed to hit his speeder as it's speeding off.
And
Also
it's
managed to hit
11
his
for me.
speeder.
as well. No,
Yep.
11 for me. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
The dice gods are with us
It's like, I
tonight.
was like, hey, I hit the side
I'm
of the ship.
gonna
like,
require a
"Pretty good."
double 6 to actually hit him because it is open topped. But
Yeah.
so far you've both hit the speeder.
That's okay. And that's a warning shot. Let him have it with the big
Oh,
gun.
that's a seven.
No, it can't.
Tony
be
running back to the big gun.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
you did.
I was gonna ask that, but then I thought, no, I'd probably just.
Yeah, it's only one range band away. You totally could have ran back into the cockpit and taken a shot with
Yeah,
the big
fair.
gun. And
Finish with better get out
Ray's
of here
gonna take a
before-
shot with this little holdout.
I honestly don't think it's worth it. I'm going to fire at him, but only abuse.
Okay.
Pressing fire.
You know, it's weird because they always say like the chickens evolved from Tyrannosaurus rexes. We just see the opposite.
All right, so he retreats and is gone. Now you're left with this other dude who was shooting at you on the other side of the vehicle.
Yeah. So from the other side, I just shout out, I guess your partner doesn't take rejection very well.
I mean, I was just hired for a job. I wouldn't really detail what was going on, but yeah, I wasn't into like a bunch of all this right here. Hey, plus I got paid ahead. It doesn't matter to me.
Oh. So who was he?
Really don't know.
Yeah, he didn't even tell you his name.
Man.
But he's like, he was going after y'all for something.
He's
He,
after the...
you recall specifically that he was going after the old man for an item.
Oh, he's like, I think he's for the old man if he has something on him.
I just kind of look across at Wraith. Like, is he... You're talking about the little artifact?
Wraith leans back and like looks at Dippy.
Dippy's still working on the engines. He's not out there.
Unfortunately, the old man doesn't have the item anymore.
I elbow Mercy.
What?
It's like you're putting us in the line of fire. It's like if he's still after the object and he thinks that Blackwood still got it.
Yeah, how
pulls
about
his
we
guns- If he pulls his guns, they'll be pointing at Blackwood first, which will give us the drop.
I think while they're discussing that, obviously, because I was at the doorway and still hear it. Has Blackwood actually done anything, or has he just stood where he was pushed?
If he has
He's-
done anything,
he's
if he has
actually
done
just-
anything, he's
He
cleaned it up
has
himself.
in the meantime, he has buckled himself into one of the jump seats. He does have his gun drawn and aimed at the door, but he was not doing anything to assist you.
Do you know what? I'm half expecting him to be holding the gun backwards.
Oh no,
I'm half
he-
expecting you to be
no.
holding the gun back.
I'm not even holding my gun.
Yeah, so it's just.
Yeah, I guess you never even pulled it, did you?
No,
You're
I
just
never, even
shielding
drew
him
the
up.
damn, I never even drew the damn thing. Actually, I don't have to draw it because it's in an arm holster.
That's true. It's a
Oh,
holdout.
it's
Yeah.
up the sleeve.
So
Yeah.
I just
Loaded.
close my hand and it just like pops into my hand.
I
Wow.
love those.
Just like that
Yeah.
shield generator ring. Are you gonna
Yeah,
try and play that off?
I would love to make it so the gun doesn't have a trigger guard. So if I just bend my finger a little bit farther, it pops into my hand and fires straight away. But I think that'd be asking too much.
Yeah, you'd need a talent for that, like quick draw.
Like
But
what I
maybe
got.
someday.
So, I guess the question is, what are you going to do now?
I don't know. This and he looks like on the other side where you got slashed. I don't think going anything with that backside is not working.
We got somebody that can fix that. I'm poking my head up over the side of the, out the side of the truck to see if I can see what
no,
what
he's-
what you're up
he's-
to. I mean,
Oh no, he's sitting there leaning against the the side right there. His
yeah.
gun's back
So
in
I
the
can't see you
holster.
at all.
Yeah, and he's just watching the guy go away. It's like, I don't know. Hey, you mind if I get a lift with y'all out of here?
You think he's coming back?
Well, let's see. If he's after the old guy with whatever he has and he's throwing that thing around, I'm sure he's gonna be coming back. And I
Okay.
did kind of like fuck over whoever I was working with too.
I look back at Wraith. Is Kylie still in the doorway? And I'm holding up my arms like, what? What do we do? It's brilliant.
I think after seeing that Blackwood was just sat there, she would have moved. Just now inspecting the truck, so she might have actually come outside
to have a look.
because she saw that she damaged it with the blaster. So yeah, it's probably outside with you guys. So it's just like, ooh. I mean, you're the one he was shooting at.
Yeah. How about you? You step out here, where we can see you.
Well, like he looks over. He's like, and he's kind of looking kind of on the side. He's like, what about you? You're like, he's seeing if your guns are, in their serves or they're still out. So he's kind of like,
just weighing each other up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. Well, he's not worried about it. He can pull his gun out, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, Mercy still has his gun, one of his guns at least, ready. I mean, you need to get out of town.
Well, it seemed like whoever I got this hired through, they said that this guy was hiring, so I probably cut my ties on them too. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not tied to anywhere. I'm kind of just roaming.
Okay. I mean, Mercy, he probably thinks he's quick. He doesn't know how fast this new guy is, but Mercy thinks he's quick, so he will put his gun down in its holster and step out from the front.
Yeah, so he goes like right here in front, still out of the way of the turret. So the
Yeah.
turret won't shoot him. He's kind of like, yeah. Because that thing ain't going nowhere to run him over, so he's just kind of sitting there, like his hands are on like his belt of his pistol, and he's kind of just sitting there like watching.
Technological question. How does what holds this speeder vehicle up? Is it jets or is it gravitic displacement? And if it's gravitic displacement, how much does it weigh?
It's repulsor lift technology.
Yeah, it's repulsor lift. How much does a truck weigh? A lot. Why?
No, if it's gravitic displacement, it works by pushing its mass into the ground. You could totally run over people with them.
Oh, I see.
I mean, you can.
Unlike a wheel, which is just like kind of narrow, it's the full width of the thing.
No, I'm pretty sure, if I know my Star Wars lore, I'm pretty sure repulsor lift technology works in such a way that if you're under a speeder, it doesn't crush you.
Oh no,
It just goes over the top of you. Like there's nothing. Yeah.
I'm sad now.
It's just how low it is. If it does anything, it might scrape you up, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean if it's super low, but like this one is most speeds run high enough that an average, humanoid can just lay down underneath it and it'll go right over them.
Okay.
Something like this truck, if it was fully laden with heavy cargo, it might be pushed down a little bit lower, but you certainly don't have that much inside of it.
Can we have blades then?
I mean, you said we can retrofit it however we like.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's not anything you're gonna do like quick, but you can.
It's not very Star Warsy. I don't think. More Mad Max than Star Wars.
We're going into a freezing cold black desert. I'm sure nobody will mind. We put a few spikes. I'm quite happy to put a few studs on my lab coat. Maybe. I mean, it'll be fine.
So, Dippy sends Kylie a message to your link, and it says this is going to take a couple of hours.
How long have we got before law enforcement turn up to see what all the shooting was about?
Oh, yeah, no, there's no law enforcement.
He has to climb.
Not in
bottom
Shadowport
rung.
All right,
Nexus.
then how long have we got before the crime families turn up to see what all the shooting was about?
Nobody showed up yet.
Probably a common occurrence around the spaceport. How far
Oh,
away
yeah,
is the
he looks around,
spaceport?
he's like, yeah, it's common occurrence.
So the spaceport is actually pretty far from where you are right now. You're at the East Gap Gate, which is on the other side of the city, essentially. I mean, the spaceport is fairly centralized, but it's more on the western edge than the eastern.
Okay.
Okay.
If you do look around, I mean, you see some people like popping their heads up out from cover. I mean, there are people that have witnessed what went down here, but nobody seems to be like calling for help or anything. Nobody else has been injured.
Not again. So the only thing we've got to worry
I
about.
mean, essentially, yeah.
So the only thing we've really got to worry about is Darth Lacoste turning back up again.
Hey, Kylie.
No, I mean, his name is clearly question mark. Don't you see the trading card that I
yeah.
gave you?
He's crocodilian enough.
Mr. Who?
Darth Who.
He's not a doctor. He hasn't got the degree.
He's
But-
not a doctor. That's great.
Hey, Kylie. Are you able to repair this thing, or are we got to take a trip to the depot after all?
I can get it running again. It's just gonna take a few hours.
Mercy's
So
like, "Aw."
Dippy sends you another text because he's back in the engine. He's like, it'll go faster if you help.
Your robot's got
I mean,
sass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can stay out here and watch out just in case something happens. So
I'm gonna go and see if
He says I can get us limping in maybe 30 minutes.
It's what limping.
Yeah.
limping.
As in we can get out of here at very low speed.
it's better than
Yeah.
nothing. That if you get somewhere a little safer or find some extra parts somewhere.
At the moment,
He's got a point.
the unknown name, the bad guy with no name knows
Yeah.
exactly where we are.
Yeah. So who are you? What's your
And he-
story?
Functioning speeder.
I'll go and help.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can call me Vero. Just just looking for some credits. They said it was right there, paid up front. I'm like, all right. I was kind of hesitant on it, but you kind of get what you can get. It's around this area.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Mercy is an excellent judge of character. I shall leave him dealing with this reprobate and go
Yeah.
and make sure that Mr. Blackwood is okay.
Okay, so first of all, Tony, go ahead and make a tools roll for me. Or wait, do you roll transports when working on vehicles? Excuse me.
Or it's a
well,
talent. You've got a talent that does it. Yeah. Is that what you mean?
Transports is for the pilot side of it.
Well, yeah, but
It's
do you have there's a talent that lets you roll transports when you're repairing vehicles instead of tools? I don't remember if you have that
No,
or
I
not.
don't have
No. Okay, so yeah, give me a tools roll
I mean,
with a bonus because Dippy is assisting.
good boy, Dippy.
Oh wow, yeah, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get limping within minutes, as opposed to a half an hour to an hour, and then it'll just be a matter of doing repairs while you're out traveling. Wraith, you're going in to check on Blackwood.
I am indeed.
He sees you. He's like, "Is everything quite all right?"
Yes. For the moment, we have disposed of the issue for the moment, and we are preparing to leave. Are you
Oh.
all right?
Oh, good. Well, I'm quite ready. Once we're some ways away from the city, I will give whoever is piloting the coordinates.
You've not been hurt. Looks at the big
I'm-
blaster hole in the wall.
I'm quite fine.
Excellent. I'll start I'll start looking through the equipment to make sure that nothing's been damaged by, random blaster bolts coming in through the doors.
No, yeah.
Is the booze safe?
The booze is safe. Yes.
That's all right then. All we need now is ice.
In a desert. Oh no, it's a frozen desert. We're all
Frozen
right.
desert. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
We're good.
It's like we'll sit down for supper tonight. Martinis all around.
Okay. So, yeah, Mercy and Max. Then I guess you guys can talk it out.
Yeah. So I
Mercy
like
and-
that
and
idea
Vero,
as
rather.
as Wraith goes in to say Mercy's an excellent judge of character. Mercy just stands around and says, "We got a passenger."
Wraith twitches. A tear forms in the corner of his eye.
Yeah,
So,
there's
yeah,
some
he-
fancy shooting there, Vero.
I expect you to
thanks,
call him partner.
Yeah, it's just you got to learn certain skills when you're out about like this, and he just leans back against the front of the transport, watching around, especially those looking around, kind of like just like evil smirk or anything. Just kind of just chuckles a little bit to himself, thinking, and just waits and see when he's ready to go.
Yeah. And Mercy kind of sees him lean back like that and kind of does the same thing. Starts loading his guns. Reloading.
Yeah,
He say so. There's a nice mega sluggers. He kind of like jokingly, jokingly chuckles about saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Mercy looks across him a little bit hurt. But they hurt, don't they?
He's like, well, what I see you do with that one. Yeah, that would hurt. Especially would probably knock out probably take out the engines of this thing out pretty easily. And you see him as he's doing that, he's spinning in his gun, and it's he's doing like the Wild West kind of like flipping, and he's just sitting there boredly, just got that right there, swings around right there, and he's going just pretending like if somebody's going around, he's like.
Yeah, Mercy looks at you doing that. He just kind of sniffs and says, "I'm gonna go and help them."
So
And he kinda like-
Blackwood, when you shout out, "We have a passenger," Blackwood's like, "They don't get a cut, do they?" To Wraith.
I just put my hands in the air and shrug.
Bless
So
you.
sorry.
Bless you. We've already agreed on 60-40, haven't we?
No, it's 50-50.
No, 52-38.
I thought it was 60. 60 + 40 for him. That way we get 20% each.
No,
and we
no,
still
that's
go
what
for the
you
price
tried to.
more.
That's what you tried to convince him of, but he
But it's-
settled on
but-
50-50.
No.
But
I
it says
agreed to
so here on the-
50-50 because he gave me the shiny rock.
But it says so here on this contract that I forged. I've got.
Yeah, well, my notes take precedent.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
That's literally what I wrote in my notes.
50-50.
50-50 payment afterwards and shiny glowy cube up front.
Yeah, and the rock. Yeah, yep.
Cube's really great for taking down security systems, isn't it? And any other power structure.
Maybe.
I mean,
If it
I
still
want to
works.
renegotiate with this guy now. To be fair.
With Blackwood?
Yeah.
How so?
How much danger you had to deal with this?
Yeah. I'm just gonna
I
step
didn't mean
in
to
and
move
I'll
you,
just
I'm
say,
sorry.
"Yes, all right." I think so. What was it? We agreed 70-30, right? Otherwise, we leave you here. And you better hope he doesn't come back.
Okay. Give me a diplomacy roll for Mercy.
Okay. Oh. I'm not great at diplomacy, to be fair. Why is it roll 3? It didn't need to roll 3. Let me roll that again, because that was...
I mean, even if you take the lowest two, you still succeeded, right? Because it was a 9.
Well, that was including the +2, I think, though, wasn't it? that
No,
would've
I
been
saw
9.
I saw a 5, a 6, and a 4.
Oh,
So a
okay.
5 and
So
a
5
4
and a
is
4
9.
plus the 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, but why?
You probably didn't see what just happened here because you were kind of hiding in the cargo hold, but we nearly got our asses handed to us.
Yeah. I stick my head in and it's like, yeah, I agree that I get 5% of that 70. Sticks his head back out.
I don't understand. We made a deal.
Yeah, and I'm changing it on account of new information. And I'm just going to push the door open and gesture, step outside if you want.
He's already belted into a seat, so
Right,
he
okay.
looks defeated, and he's like, I suppose 30% will be still an exorbitant amount.
I knew you'd see it my way. And I'll head back to see if I can assist in any repairs or anything.
Yeah, I smiled at myself. It's like he doesn't know what they're talking about, but 5% of something is something.
So just as Mercy heads back into the engine compartment, I mean, this thing isn't huge, but there's room to move around.
Yeah.
Kylia has finished.
Oh.
Well, and the engines, you hear them power up. Again, it's enough to get you limping. You and or Dippy are going to need to continue to work on it once you're on your way.
So, is this like, I don't know how this kind of vehicle would work? So it's like, can you do like automatic pilot while we fix it up and stuff? Or will somebody need to pilot it?
This particular vehicle wouldn't have anything like an autopilot, and it's not as simple as a starship where you set coordinates and go.
Yeah.
So someone
somebody
will
else
need to
drive.
pilot it.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
if it's just
everybody
standard...
has transports.
Yeah.
So everybody can drive. If you were driving in like a combat situation, they'd probably want you in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be better at it than anybody else, but any of them can, even Blackwood can drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know everybody's transport skills off the top of my head, so somebody might have 2, but I doubt anybody has 3.
No.
I'm a 1.
I'm a 1.
1's enough to do it, though.
Yeah.
At least as long as there's no trouble.
Okay. Let's just get out of here before that guy shows up.
Before
Right.
Mr. Who shows up.
Mr. Who returns.
Yeah, I would look over to Mercy. It's like, if she's gonna be working on the engines, like, I could drive. You can stay on the gun up there. Points out the big thing up there. If that guy comes back around.
The gunnery seat is actually in the cockpit. It's not up top. So, I mean, there is a hatch up top to where you can climb up there, but you don't need to be out there to use the gun.
Yeah,
Oh yes, you
I'm
can
just
sit
saying
in there.
Yeah, it's like one of us can drive, somebody can pilot a gun, because we're both good at guns, but he just kind of wants to, to drive it because he's bored. He's like, ooh, let's just see what this does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if I sit in the back for a bit.
Yeah, so I mean, once you get moving, assuming everybody heads inside and you button it up, Blackwood says just head due east for a few hours, and then we'll talk about where we go from there. Once the engines are fully operational.
Nice. As he's like, he's driving, he plugs in his Lincoln and starts playing music through the system. It's like a techno, rodeo country song.
Techno rodeo. Okay. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think
I'm gonna see
I
if
think
that's
we'll call
actually
it
a
there
thing.
for today. Yeah, you should. As you button up the truck and head out, got a nice old slash across the front of it and a slash in the back. I decided not to have Mr. Who attack the turret. I almost had him do it, but
Almost.
so yeah, you start heading out, kind of limping, sputtering, kind of. It's a little jerky, because of the still being repaired engines, but you head past the gates. Nobody asks for any kind of authorization, or you just travel through.
I
With
can imagine a big
all
cloud of
the other
black smoke
vehicles.
behind it.
There is some smoke, yes.
Oh,
And you find yourself out past the city, and as soon as you're out of the gate, things change instantly. You know, I mean, we are all probably used to cities where you reach the edge of a city, but it's not really an edge. It just kind of fades out over time with suburbs and whatnot. But no,
Yeah.
this is, you're through the gate, and it's black sands and frost as far as the eye can see, with some mountains in the distance.
Wow.
And so you start heading east, which is directly away from the city, into the sunset, as it were, since it was early evening when you had decided to meet up with Blackwood.
Yeah, I can hear like like the cowboy thing, like like at the end when the sunset, the cowboy runs in the sunset.
Right. And we will leave it there until next Wednesday.
Yay.